Push a man, put your hand on my thigh. I need chills up and down my spine. Baby, can you get me high? Push a man, put your hand on my.
Hello there. I'm Ron Wills, and today I'm going to be talking about playing the cards in your hand. Yeah. You know what? The other day, I was sitting around chilling. Didn't really have to do anything, so I was watching Maury. And don't fake, we all watch Maury. We all know you are not the father. Anyway, it was you are not the father type of episode. And this one dude, his name was Pablo, this Mexican dude, came out. And he said he wasn't the father because the baby was too cute. I mean, this man described himself as ugly but sexy. And he said the baby was too pretty to be his. I mean, he said, the baby's mother was gorgeous, but he was like, nah, that ain't my baby. He said that baby looked like Prince without the revolution. And, he was sure it wasn't his. It turned out to be his, and he stepped out. He didn't really argue with it after the results were presented. But what struck me is, first of all, this man called himself ugly, right? And, he had some skin issues with his face and everything. But what this dude had was some mad charisma. I mean, he came out, he had a nice suit on, 6-button suit on. It was beige, had a scarf to go with it, shoes were right, had some eyeglasses that fit his face, and he also, he had a decent haircut. I mean, he came out there styling for his little 15 minutes of fame. He was making the most of it. And I was just laughing because, like I said, he had mad charisma. He was messing around with the audience and talking trash with Maury. And, the mother of the baby, she was just like, she don't even take him seriously, right? But here was the thing. He, instead of being all sad sacked and being, like, oh, I'm short, or, I'm overweight, or I'm ugly, he just did the best with what he had. He put on some fly clothes. He, developed you could tell he's good at talking with people. And he was funny too, so he's good at making people laugh. Those were the cards he was dealt. And it struck me because you have so many people who they'll say, well, I'm too short. Or, my jawline isn't square, or, my hair is thinning, or I'm overweight. I mean, you have some people who have all these excuses. And I'm going to be honest, when you're going through life, you really have to work with what you are given. Like I always say, the old saying is, if you get a bunch of lemons, make some lemonade. Because everybody, look, that's some crazy stuff that, and people just go through it. And I mean, I understand, people might have some mental health issues, and I would recommend anybody who's watching this who feel like that's the case, really get some professional help. But a lot of times it's a stuff that somebody could really just put a positive spin on and just move on and just do the best with what they got. And I mean, I saw this guy and I was just laughing. And this wasn't just someone on TV or some actor or anything, because I've seen plenty of people like this. I remember years ago, it was me and some other men, and we were talking about a business venture. And I can't really get into the details of it. But one of the men invited a friend of his to the meeting. And this dude, I'm not gonna lie, this dude looked like somebody he like dragged off the street, literally. In fact, at one point, this guy, I'll call him Brad. Brad picked up like a cigarette butt off the ground and was trying to get a light for it. I was just like, how you bringing him to a business meeting, right? And then one of the things, this group, we had a meeting with a larger group that night, and this larger group included a bunch of very attractive women. And it was at a young lady's house. We brought Brad with us for whatever reason, And when we got over there, it was kind of early. So, the woman who owned the house, she was making some food for everybody. Brad went right in the kitchen and started helping her. And then it was like, this dude who I'm looking like a homeless reject, all of a sudden he was working it with this young lady. And then a few other young ladies came over. He was working it with them too. And I was just like, okay, this dude looked like he might not have had a bath. Thankfully, he didn't smell like it, but he looked like he might not have had a bath in a long time. He looked like him and the barber were not on a first name basis. And I was just like, man. But he was working with what he had. And one of the things he had was he was like highly intelligent. After a while, I saw why he was brought to the meeting. Highly intelligent and highly charismatic. Once he got kind of like in his element, got kind of comfortable, he was like, wow, he's cool. We still need to get him a good pair of shoes, but this dude has some charisma. And I think of several examples. two more I'll give you. I knew this young lady, she had cerebral palsy. And she just couldn't walk straight. There was nothing, she was very intelligent and actually attractive. But in a day and age when women are complaining about a shortage of men, she had two outstanding men. I know, because I met them both at different times. And I'm like thinking about it, I'm like, oh man, neither one of y'all know that neither one of y'all really have a woman, because she was open for a third. And then I knew this other guy, he was in a wheelchair. He was a wheelchair athlete. And this dude was probably one of the biggest players I ever met. This dude had it down to a science. I remember he came up to me. He was a black man. He came up to me one time, we were talking. He said, Ron, one thing I've noticed? I noticed when I shave my mustache, I get more white women. But when I keep my mustache on, get more black women. Now this dude, I was like, this dude, some of the insights he gave me was incredible. But he couldn't walk. His legs were basically useless. But he was a wheelchair athlete. One of the things he did was he kept up his grooming and he worked out. He made the best of what he had. He played the hand that he was dealt. Now, the reason why I'm making this video, and like I said, it doesn't have to be that long. One of the things I'm finding with a lot of people and hearing with a lot of people is just excuses. And that's all I hear. I hear excuses. I hear excuses why a man can't just ask a woman out. It was like, oh, she might not like me, I'm short. Or she might not like me, I got red hair. Or I got freckles. Or, they don't like dark-skinned brothers. Oh, I've heard other light-skinned brothers say that. And this is within a black community. People will be like, well, I'm ugly. Or, I don't look like a fashion model. And I've actually heard, and this would be another video, I've actually heard men and women say they're not getting dates or whatever relationships because they look too good. Thing is, they do physically look good, but they were like, well, this is the reason. And one of the things people have to realize is there's a lot you can do to change. You can still, you can hit the gym. If it's a body issue, you can hit the gym, you can work out, you got control over it. Even your face to an extent, if, sometimes if you slimmer, you work out, you eat some, you can put a little bit of weight on your face. Weight does come on, like on your face and everything. So if you eat a lot more, you can actually put on weight there. If you're overweight, if you work out, say if you like 300 pounds and you lose at least 100, your face will change. In my last video, I talked about getting a haircut, getting clothes and everything. And it all comes down to just having a positive attitude. And I know it sounds cliche, just think positively and everything, but that's all you can do. I'm going to tell you something, man. And I'm not saying this to brag, I'm just being honest. I could use 1,000 excuses why I couldn't do something in life. I could say, well, I had this problem coming up, or, I could say I was too chocolate, or I could say, I'm black in a majority white society, or I could say, well, I'm not 6'4". I could say all of that. I didn't really care. I'm like, I'm me. I'm just going to go and do my thing. I'm going to play the hand that I was dealt. I'm going to control what I can control, which is my weight, and then go on. It was like, if it's a money issue, hey, I'm going to go out and make that money. I'm going to hustle that money. I'm going to do whatever it takes to live the life that I want. I'm not going to allow anybody, any person, to stop me from living life. And the main person I'm not going to stop from allowing me to live life is myself. See, too many people out there making excuses. They want to play the victim role. And you know what? That's something else I need to just do a whole video on. Too many people want to embrace that victim mode. That's some bullshit, okay? That's some straight up bullshit. You just got to go on and do what you got to do. There's stuff, I'm going to tell you what. And I don't care if you call this being cocky, bragging. I can only think of one thing in my lifetime I have not accomplished that I've wanted to accomplish. And that's global domination. And I'm still working on that now. So, other than that, there's nothing I haven't accomplished because I don't have time for excuses. There's nobody, you had to genetically engineer somebody to stop me from accomplishing my goals. And everybody who's watching this video need to say the same thing. Especially men talking about, well, these women don't like me, or they like thugs or bad boys. Whatever. Stop all that bullshit. Just be positive and do what you gotta do. Play the hand that you were dealt. Hey, look. Y'all have a good day. Y'all think about what I'm saying. Peace and blessings. Holla at
Push
you,
a
babies.
man, push a man, put your hand on my thigh. I need chills up and down my spine. Baby, can you get me high? Push a man, push a man.